Good afternoon. Everybody ready? Okay, thank you all so much for joining us this afternoon. We've actually got a couple cases to brief you up on. One very interesting murder for hire case that we had working, and then this narcotics arrest happened this morning, so we figured we'd go ahead and brief you guys up on both. And then additionally, I'll have more details on the cockfighting ring arrest from last night, if anybody's interested in that as well. So let me get started with this mountain of drugs that are here in front of me. So this morning, our narcotics folks from our organized crime group developed information that this gentleman was going to be traveling through our county with a large amount of drugs in his possession. At 37 and Fair, they attempted, we had a uniformed marked unit attempt to make a traffic stop on him when he fled, thereby initiating a pursuit. They pursued him through our county and into Guadalupe County. When they reached the Guadalupe River in Guadalupe County, close to Seguin, the suspect bailed out of the vehicle and then was seen dumping a backpack into the Guadalupe River below. That backpack was retrieved, and they found what you see in front of us here, approximately 12.5 kilos, or about 25 to 30 pounds of a mix of drugs. So the drugs that you see in front of you are actually, they test positive for both fentanyl and for methamphetamine. So as a result of this, Lopez is being charged with manufacturing, delivering controlled substance penalty group 1, hence the methamphetamine, and evading arrest, detention with motor vehicle. Those are both felony offenses. The dollar value of the drugs in front of us is about $250,000 based upon what we see here. Now, if that goes, if they do what typically drug dealers do, is divide that up into smaller quantities and then cut that up, using adulterants, they can actually double, triple the value of this in some cases, depending upon how weak they cut it out. Now, with regard to the mix of fentanyl and methamphetamine, there's several different theories that could apply as to why there's two different drugs being mixed here. One of the things, and we teach a class here on fentanyl, one of the things that could be an explanation as to why there's methamphetamine mixed with fentanyl is that many times the folks that sell these drugs will utilize fentanyl to drive the addiction. Fentanyl being the more addictive of the two drugs, what they'll do is they'll mix other drugs with fentanyl in order to make it more addictive. If you can believe it or not, we've all heard about the dangers of things, something like crack cocaine. Well, we know for a fact that fentanyl is actually 50 times more addictive than even crack cocaine. So hence the reason why they utilize it, they mix it in to make it a more addictive and more potent drug, which of course it's that much more of a chance that it could kill you. 0.2 milligrams of fentanyl is what's recognized, pretty universally recognized to be a fatal dose of fentanyl. During our presentation on fentanyl, what we show to show you what 2 milligrams of fentanyl looks like is we'll actually show a penny blown up, and then right next to you see how small the digits are on a penny. 2 milligrams of fentanyl actually is much smaller than even the digits on the year on the penny. So it doesn't take very much of this stuff to kill you. Certainly when you're looking at 25 pounds of it sitting here, this is more than enough to kill a sizable portion of even a county as large as Bexar County. So we're absolutely thankful that our organized crime group, working with our partners at DPS and a couple of the federal agencies, I believe even the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office helped us out with this. So it was an all hands on deck thing that resulted in this and the charges of this suspect is facing now. Esta mañana nuestros oficiales de la unidad de crimen organizada tuvieron información que este sospechoso iba pasando por nuestro condado con una gran cantidad de drogas en su posesión. Ya cuando ellos intentaron pararlo, un carro de patrulla intentó parar al sospechoso. Él huyó a alta velocidad y nuestros oficiales lo persiguieron hasta el condado de Guadalupe, cerca de Seguin. Ya llegando allí, el sospechoso aventó una mochila al río Guadalupe. Nuestros oficiales encontraron la mochila, la sacaron y encontraron lo que está enfrente de mí ahorita, aproximadamente 12 kilos de metanfetamina con fentanilo. Esta droga es posible que la mixtearon con el intento de hacer la droga más potente. Muchas veces lo que nosotros sabemos de esta droga de fentanilo es que muchas veces hace a una droga más adicta. Entonces, nosotros pensamos que es lo que ellos hicieron en mezclar estas dos drogas. Ahora les damos las gracias a nuestros otros socios con las agencias federales que estaban trabajando con nosotros, tanto como la Policía Estatal y la Oficina del Sheriff del Condado Guadalupe, que todas las agencias trabajaron juntas para arrestar a este sospechoso y seguir esta investigación. Any questions on the fentanyl?
Yeah, you said that your organized crime team got word that this individual was going to be in the area. Who is he or why is he on your radar?
Well, from what we can tell, he's a drug mule. Obviously, we know that he knows more than what he's letting on. It's our job to try to get that information from him in hopes that, we can climb the ladder. A quantity of drugs like this, I'm certain that there's a cartel tie, probably not too far beyond this gentleman here. And so our intent is always to climb that ladder and try to get as high up in that organization as we can, again, in hopes of disrupting and dismantling these big criminal organizations. That's the way you do them. We know that this guy's probably not Chapo Guzman. He's not our drug kingpin, but we know that he probably knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and on down the line, up the line, I should say.
I guess what led you to him? How did y'all?
Well, we never really go into too many details on these cases because that kind of thing is somewhat dangerous. But we have a variety of ways of getting information, and our next case will talk about just that. But anytime that we're able to develop this information, we act on it, and we go off. And our overall goal is to put the bad guys in jail and get the drugs off the street. In this instance, we accomplished both.
Usted decía que él iba a pasar por el condado. ¿Sabemos de dónde venía exactamente él desde un origen y cuál podría haber sido su destino final?
Sabemos que venía de otra parte del estado, pero ahorita estamos tratando de averiguar todo eso, de dónde iba viniendo, se paró en algunas otras partes antes de llegar, iba a otro lugar después de esto. Nosotros en todo eso nos tenemos que fijar.
The same question in English.
So we know that he was coming from another part of the state, but at this point we have to determine, what was going on there before he arrived here. Were any stops made? Was he going on somewhere else beyond that? At this point we don't know, but we're trying to figure out to try to piece together who else he may have had dealings with. Was there another load like this dropped off 10 miles away? We just at this point don't know.
¿En algún momento declaró qué iba a hacer con eso? ¿Si la iba a vender aquí en San Antonio o en otro lado?
Nosotros pensamos que la iba a vender, esta droga entera la iba a vender así, pero por ahorita nosotros tenemos que averiguar realmente qué es lo que iba a hacer. You had a follow-up.
So this chase was cross county. How long was the chase? Luckily no injuries, right? But did it ever get to a dangerous point there?
Well, anytime that you engage in a high-speed pursuit, obviously there's a risk associated with that. For us, we've got to weigh the benefit to the community versus the risk of something bad happening. That's why we train so hard on our pursuit policies. That's why we have things like helicopters to assist us. If a helicopter can take over a pursuit, we can pull back and hopefully the guy will relax thinking that he's not being pursued. So for us, it's always a calculated risk. I can tell you definitively, this drug would have killed somebody had we let it get out into the wrong hands, without a doubt. I don't know if that somebody would have been one person or 100 people based upon the amount of drugs that we're dealing with. So that's always going to be one of the things that we've got to weigh against the risk. It's always a calculated risk in everything that we do. But thankfully, everything worked out in this instance.
¿Qué es lo que pasa con estas drogas después de que ustedes las incautan?
Nosotros ahorita estas las tenemos que guardar. Tenemos un edificio donde nosotros guardamos toda la evidencia después de los procesos de la corte de este sospechoso. Ya cuando ya no llega a ser, cuando ya no es evidencia en ese caso criminal, entonces ya de ahí la podemos destruir y es lo que vamos a hacer. Pero ese proceso se toma varios años antes de llegar a ese punto. Pero las quemamos, las drogas las quemamos.
Just one more time, the
Yes, sir.
amount of drugs that are here on the table.
We're looking at about 12 and a half kilos of cocaine, which is about between 25 and 30 pounds. I'm sorry, not cocaine. Methamphetamine and fentanyl, my apologies. Between 25 and 30 pounds. And, so that's quite a sizable amount. Okay, thank you.